We have Grandmaster Robert Hovhannisyan taking on Gukesh in the 9th round of the FIDE Grand Swiss 2025. On your screen, you can also see some other Indian Grandmasters. There's SL Narayanan in the background. There's also P. Harikrishna right behind Hovhannisyan. Gukesh is on 3.5 points out of 8. He's had a tough event, 3 losses, and then a draw against Divya Deshmukh, and now black pieces against Robert. They have played against each other once before. It happened at the Sharjah Masters in 2022, where Gukesh had won, and there's also Aditya Mittal there in the background. So many Indian players here, and Gukesh follows his routine of just calmly relaxing himself before the game as it begins. Pawn to e4 by Robert. And c5 played by Gukesh. He goes for the Sicilian here. Knight to f3. And let's see what his choice will be. He has played knight c6 before and he goes for it. We have seen Rosalimo quite often, but today it's time for the open Sicilian. That's going to be a lot of fun. Pawn takes pawn now. And knight takes d4, taken by Robert. Knight f6. And knight to c3. So Gukesh can play d6, go into the classical variation, g6, go into the dragon, but he goes for e5, which is the most popular in this position, which is the Sveshnikov, and it has become so much more popular after Magnus Carlsen played it in his World Championship match against Fabiano Caruana. Bishop goes to g5, and Gukesh pushes the knight away with a6. Knight comes back to a3, and you want to play b5 now, threatening b4 to win a piece. 2 lines here, one is to take, the other is knight d5. Knight d5 is the more positional approach here. He goes for his knight to d5, bishop e7 played, and now take on f6, keeping this strong knight in the center. Bishop takes f6, and Gukesh knows this inside out. I'm pretty sure Robert as well, both of them blitzing out their moves. Rook b8 played here. This also has been played before. Knight comes back to c2, and black castles. You want to be fighting against this very strong knight on d5, but look at what Robert is doing. He goes h4. He's trying to gain space on the king side and also stopping bishop g5 ideas when the knight goes to e3. So g3 played now, trying to trade off the bishops perhaps on h3, because this is an important bishop here. h5. Ooh, now trying to attack on the king side. And Gukesh goes knight e7. They're actually following a game between Magnus Carlsen and Duda from World Blitz Championship. Gukesh takes on d5 after thinking for 7 minutes here. Knight takes d5, and now puts the bishop on b7. White goes bishop h3. Bishop is put on a good long diagonal, and bishop h6. Believe it or not, this is still the game between Magnus and Duda. Queen d3, Duda and Magnus. Magnus was black. King g7, still following it. Rook to d1, putting pressure there. And a5 played. a3. And I think this is the first new move of the game, bishop c6. In that game, something else was played here. Bishop comes back to g2. If you look at the position carefully, you will notice that black has the bishop pair, but the problem is of course the knight here on d5. It's such a strong piece. On the other hand, white has to decide what to do with the king. Goes bishop d7, And he plays king f1. Aha, he keeps the rook on the h file. That's a good idea. And Gukesh now says, well, your king is a bit weak. I'm going to open up with f5. H takes g6. And you can take back with the h pawn here. Takes back. And now king to g2 played. Rook is doubling up here on the f file. Pawn takes pawn. And now queen takes pawn is a very good idea, because now bishop e4, f2 is hanging. So actually this is a good chance for Gukesh, but he goes bishop takes f5, and this allows white to keep this light square blockade with bishop to e4, and he doubles the rooks here. Rook comes to f1. And if Gukesh doesn't manage to break through here, he would be positionally worse. Queen g4, trying to put pressure on the e4 bishop. Do you go pawn to f3? Well, that's a blunder here, pawn to f3, because of queen h3 check, and you lose. So you need to first chop off this bishop here. So he takes, bishop takes f5, and now the advantage is getting serious here for white. Rook takes f5, and an important move is f3, just kicking the queen away. And he does play pawn to f3. Gukesh moves his queen to a4, and now knight c7 could be very dangerous here. So you attack b5 and also threaten e6, but he goes queen e4, a slightly soft move there, one must say. And Gukesh plays queen b3, and he's back in the game. Rook to b1 played, and now rook to f5. White plays rook up one square, and Gukesh improves the position of his other rook. Rook to f1. Somehow it's so difficult to play with this knight on d5. It's such a strong piece, and then the queen on e4. It's like white has complete control on the light squares. He goes knight e3, attacking the rook. And wants to come in here, queen b7 check. Maybe better was knight g4, stopping knight h2, but he checks. Queen comes back to f7. And one of the things that Gukesh has struggled with in this tournament is to be objective. He has tried to take undue risks, and the question is whether he would do that today as well. He first yes, knight g4. White's position does have a lot of potential. The rooks can swing over to the d file. King comes up to e6. Now rook to d1 with the idea of rook to d2. And Gukesh, being completely focused there, needs to figure out where is his counterplay coming from. He goes bishop to c7, defending the pawn on e5, now threatening to play d5, I believe. That plan is nipped in the bud by Robert by going rook d2. And Gukesh comes back, plays rook to f5. He's eyeing the f3 pawn here, but can we go rook d5? Trying to attack here, but maybe there is rook f8 trying this. So knight comes back to e3. And now rook to f7. Well, Robert goes f4. Both players have plenty of time on the clock now with 40 moves done. And the main point is, if you take ef4, he wants to go gf and if rook takes f4, there is knight d5. So that's the reason why rook h7 and king comes up to f3. Rook h2 played by Gukesh. And he plays pawn to b4. a4. F takes e5 played. And he takes the rook. And here's the dangers now in this position, because some point if white gets c4, then Gukesh could be in trouble. You have a passer here, a4 pawn could become weak. He goes rook d5, attacking the pawn on b5. Rook to b8, and now king e4. White has a very, very pleasant position. Gukesh is in big trouble. And that's happening to him quite often in this tournament. The positions are around equal, but he's getting outplayed. King e4. And now bishop goes to d6. Maybe g4. Well, Robert goes c4. And while this move is quite decent, the problem is that it allows black to sacrifice the bishop for 2 pawns. And that is something which should have been avoided. So he takes, and now bishop takes b4. That's the saving move which Gukesh has, and he finds it. Otherwise, he was in big trouble here, and that's why Robert's move c4 wasn't particularly the best. AB, rook b4. And now you can take here on e5 with a check. King f6 and rook c5 only move. Yeah, because if you go king d4, I have rook c4 and I pick up your rook. So rook c5, a3, again forced, only move. King d4, and now again the only move is rook a4. So Gukesh has calculated this accurately till the end, that he can draw this game rook a5, and the point is you take, knight takes, and then a2, and then the king comes in here and tries. He offers a draw with a2, and well, it's a draw, because over here if white tries to defend here, he can just hold back, and a draw is agreed here. Very interesting game by the players. And just to analyze this final position, knight to b3, trying to stop the pawn from queening. King f5, king e3, and now king g4, king f2, g5. You can go, let's say you can wait here with knight a1, and king f5, king f3, king e5. And the point is, you can't go really after the g pawn. You have to be very careful, because if you go here, black can win by coming here and winning the knight. So you have to kind of shadow it, and when he goes here and tries to win the pawn, you can block the king, and it's a draw here. So that's why Gukesh played a2 move and offered a draw, and it was a draw.
Молодец. Gukesh похвастался, Gukesh. Нам тоже. Bakayım sen Потом ты сфоткаетесь?
One photo.
Это раз чего раз мы
Bu taraf kimler?
Трилля. Você ia colocar tudo?
Bunu ölçüyorsun ki yukarısın.
Listen,
Bir tane görmüyorsun.
One photo. One photo, please.
Gel mama. Dur.
Такие.
Yakala. Спасибо.
Gukesh.
I wish you like L.
Четыре, а все. Kanısla.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Can I ask? Can I ask you?
Можно я тоже?
Can I ask you? Yes. You want one day you say if today is Magnusson champions, so I want to win him. You don't remember? You say it. Today is my son. That's it. If Magnusson champion today, I want him today.
Вставай.
Тима, давай.
Алло, Резус. Батя Резус.
Hi, I'm from the Russian Nation. Can we do an interview after tournament?
I wish you luck.
Okay.
Ба, покажи, какой он тебе отдает.
Как он сыграл?